What's up, everybody? Aaron Nagler here with Cheesehead TV, coming to you live on YouTube after the Packers win their preseason opener against the Houston Texans right there in Lambeau Field. Just got back, just walked across the street. Thought I'd jump on and talk to you fine folks, see what's going on, and say hello to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide, because that's what we do at Cheesehead TV. We're devoted to you guys. Each and every day, day in and day out. I need a beverage. Hold on a second. I loved let it be the challenge on the Texans. The horn, though, burn it to the ground. It's funny because LaFleur was actually asked about the horn, and he said he wants to do something, anything, to get the crowd as engaged at Lambeau as they are when they're on the road. That's awesome by the new head coach. Gary looked raw as hell. Hello from Brazil. As a young guy, just people I think expect way too much. I got so much stuff on my Twitter feed tonight about, look, he's not going to come in and be Julius Peppers. He's still very young, still learning the ropes. And, as far as him not dominating or him looking, I saw a couple of people say he looked lost. Certainly didn't think he looked lost. It certainly looked like a young guy who's got a lot to learn, but you saw the athleticism. You saw a couple times they ran that stunt where he comes screaming inside, but he lost his footing both times. Maybe it's a good time to work on the cleat selection. But overall, I thought you saw some nice things. I'm very anxious to look at the tape and see, kind of break down all of his snaps. And he did play quite a little bit. Did Burks return after the injury? No. He had that shoulder iced up for the rest of the night. We asked LaFleur if there was any update, and he had nothing for us. Gary looked really good. Who is saying he looked bad? All of my Twitter feed. All of my mentions. People just like to complain. Lambeau looks so beautiful. It does, Deborah, doesn't it? It's always lovely at night. Was that touchdown for a boost of confidence? You gotta hope so. This is the second year in a row where, Moore has started with a really solid camp, and then absolutely kind of just shrunk under the lights. Last year it was during family night. This year it was the first preseason game. You can't have that. You got to step your game up. And tonight he looked lost for the most part, right until he caught that touchdown pass. But look. It's all about consistency, and you've seen it from guys like Jake Kumaro, who absolutely came to play tonight, and he's on first kickoff coverage, so you got to think he's close to locked. Now, should we start losing hope for Kevin King? I wouldn't. I understand why people want to and are quick to try and want to cut him, which I think is completely foolish. He's still a young guy. He's very cheap labor, and they're a better team when he's out there. Right now, he's not, and that's frustrating. I understand that, but the people want to kick him to the curb are really silly. Heard the announcers say B.J. Raji was on the sideline. Sorry, I was in the press box, so I didn't hear the announcers, but that would be hilarious. I like to see Mike Pettin on the sideline as opposed to being up in the box. LaFleur indicated that was something they talked about, and the anticipation is that Pettin will be on the sideline going forward, but we'll see. J.K. Scott is a field-flipping weapon. You better believe it. I came home to Corey Behnke asleep on his couch, so we'll talk to Behnke about that tomorrow. Does Kaiser play? Oh, gosh, too many questions. They're going so quick. Looney was a show in the second half, like seeing him dominate and burst through. I mentioned that on Twitter. I thought he did some really nice things in the second half. Now, part of that you have to take with a grain of salt due to the level of competition, but he certainly was consistently in the backfield, and I thought Kingsley Keke had a really nice night as well. I'm very anxious to see his tape. Elton Jenkins, thoughts? I didn't see him from scrimmage. It's really hard to get when you're up in the booth and we don't really have the TV feed there. It's really hard to get a gauge on line play too much, especially along the interior. I will say this, though. I asked LaFleur if Lane Taylor playing tonight meant that he's in competition for that left guard spot, and he indicated absolutely yes. That's the whole reason Lane played. And a couple days ago, Lane gave way to Elton Jenkins at left guard with the ones. So it certainly seems that Jenkins has made enough noise and shown enough that the coaches are ready to thrust him into a competition with Lane Taylor for the left guard spot. So that is something to watch when these guys reconvene practice in a couple days. Am I leaving Green Bay tonight? No, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm having lunch with my folks and then heading out. Packers football back. Thank the maker. I hear you. Are we getting close to Boyle over Kaiser as the backup? Slow down. It's one preseason game, and Boyle was going against much lesser competition. You do like to see what Boyle did tonight. I'm not going to take that away from him. I thought he did some really nice stuff. Kaiser obviously struggled, especially early on, but I thought, that drive, the touchdown drive where he had a really nice play, felt the rush, moved to his right, kept his eyes downfield. I mean, he did some nice things. He was let down a couple times by Jamal Moore. Both quarterbacks were, but one preseason game isn't going to completely shift the balance. I do think Boyle helped himself tonight. I don't think there's any doubt there. Josh, Foghorn thoughts? I hate it. I hate it with every fiber of my being. I love the idea of trying to get people pumped up on third down. That's great. But oh my God, the Foghorn. It's too close to the Viking horn. Why do we want anything that even sounds like a horn? Awful, awful. Hate it. Whoa, so many questions. I thought Kiki and James Looney looked good out there. Yeah, we just talked about that. I agree. One positive, there was no wave when the Packers were on offense. Exactly. Hey, that's what you want, right? You want the group to take in the information, make the adjustment necessary, and then produce. And Packers fans tonight in Lambeau, that's exactly what they did. Only did the wave while they were on defense. They are learning. Raven Green, yes, I thought he had a very good night, very productive. You saw him force that fumble, a couple really nice tackles. He made one play, especially early on, was really nice. That was on the outside. He forced the run back to the inside and then made the tackle. There was a bunch of plays like that where you saw his physicality, you saw his football IQ on display. I think Raven had a really good night. Tomorrow, ANAG live from Ticket King. No. Did Amos play at all? And if so, how did he do? He did not play. Savage played. But Amos, I believe, did not dress. Way too many flags, Katie. You're darn right about that, especially early on. You got to think a lot of that is to do with first preseason game, under the lights, etc. A lot of nerves. I think they settled in all right, but I very much agree. Way too many penalties, especially early on. Mercedes Lewis sitting an indication of his security. It's really impossible to say. I would think that it was much more about they know what he can do. There's no reason to throw him out there. He's taken so many snaps in the NFL, in camp, etc. They know what they can do. They're really familiar with his work. Biggest takeaway from the game? The receivers competition is going to be right down to the wire, I think. I mean, Shepard is really coming on, and you can see him making plays each and every day. He made another couple tonight. He's going to make things interesting, I think. Overall, I think it was good work all over the map. Really liked guys like Kiki and Ty Summers really showed out early on, although I think you saw some, rookie legs get the better of him later in the game when I think he went bell to bell from start to finish. So that's something. Maybe got to work on the conditioning there a little bit, but for the most part, relatively healthy. I mean, Oren Burks obviously is the big injury of the night, but for the most part, I thought came out pretty well. Lonnie Johnson getting mossed by the 8th receiver. Oh, and then flexing on him. Oh, God, you hate to see it. Thoughts on Gary's performance? Cody, we talked about it a little earlier. I think there are some people who are getting a little bit too high on it. I think there's a lot of people getting way too low on it. He's a young guy. I saw some nice stuff. I saw him lose his footing a couple times, and I saw some nice bull rushes, some ineffectual stuff, but that's all to be expected. I'm anxious to see the film. Love to see it. You do love to see it, no doubt about it. Did you get in for the post-game press conference? I did. I asked Matt LaFleur about Lane Taylor, and I actually asked Coach about his diametrically opposed quarterback when it comes to their opinions on joint practices. And I'm not going to paraphrase what he said. I just encourage you to go watch LaFleur's press conference, and it's available on, or will be available on Packers.com. I thought he handled it brilliantly. He gave a fantastic answer in regards to Rodgers' very public kind of pushback on joint practices. I thought it was A-plus stuff from the rookie head coach. Did LaFleur say Green Bay had 2 turnovers? Yeah, I think he said it was 4-2. I think they had a interception and a fumble. I'm just off the top of my head. I can't remember for sure. It's hard when you don't have the computer in front of you and you can't just look at the stats. Hey, no questions for a second. Vitale had some nice grabs on bad throws. Get used to that. I mean, not to the bad throws, but nice grabs from Vitale. He's been doing that all camp. Literally everything thrown to the guy. His catch radius is ridiculous, especially for a fullback. 4th down stop counts as a turnover? Oh, maybe that's a good point. Probably. Kadar, thoughts? Oh, big interception. Now, obviously, it's a poor throw by Joe Webb, but like I said about Tony Brown's interception on family night, poor throws happen every Sunday in the NFL, and your job as a defensive back is to take advantage of those, and that's exactly what he did. He did a great job undercutting the wide receiver, diving, laying out for the interception. That's a great play, and that's just an extension of what we've seen day in and day out from Holman. That kid has made a real impression early on in camp, and he just continued to do so tonight. Really excited about his play. Did Allison play tonight? I don't think so. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they did sit like 26 people, so I don't believe he did. Will Lazard make the team? You would love to see it, but I doubt it. He's so far down the depth chart, and there's so many guys making plays in front of him. Great, outstanding touchdown catch tonight. Maybe that helps him catch on someplace else. I would be very surprised if he's on the 53. Shep make the team. Now that, I think there's a better chance of that happening. I still think it's a long shot for Shepard, but I tell you what, we always talk about in the summer when we're leading up to camp, like the way that these guys can make, at least get, the coaches to pay attention to them, start getting in the mix, start getting in the conversation. The best way to do that is to make plays every day, even if it's just one play that makes a coach take notice. And Shep's done that day in and day out, and he made a couple more tonight. That touchdown catch was ridiculous. If you keep doing that, it makes it really hard to ignore you. And like I said, I still think it's a bit of a long shot for him, but you can't say he's not in the mix now, because he absolutely is. What's up with the lack of offensive playing time for EQ? Yeah, it's probably somewhat having to do with just what the rotation is, and you get other guys that are seen, and then maybe he's out there for a running play, and then they, put someone else in. I wouldn't read too much into it. I think he's actually had a better camp than most people give him credit for. I think he's been playing with the threes a lot, and that hasn't helped. He's been open a lot, and Kaiser's missed him a bunch. So I still really like his chances to make the 53, but he's certainly not a lock. Tight ends weren't involved much. Yeah, that's true, but you got to remember, there's no game planning going on, and there's no real kind of focus as far as who they're trying to get the ball to. It's all very super basic. You saw that especially early when, Kaiser basically threw 3 slants in a row as his first pass plays, other than the deep shot on the very first play. It's a very, very, very vanilla playbook, so I wouldn't read too much into the usage of any of these guys. The inevitable Florio Foghorn post. God, yeah, looking forward to that. Out of the 3 QBs who looked the best tonight, Boyle. I don't think there's any question there. Now, it helps that he had the kind of much easier task as far as the level of competition goes in comparison to what Kaiser was going against. But, I think all 3 guys did some good stuff, but overall, I think Boyle probably had the finest / best performance of all the quarterbacks. I will say it again. Javon Moore sucks. See, I hate when you guys say that stuff. I mean, he's a really talented kid, and he's had a good camp. He had a very bad night tonight. There's no doubt about that. But to say he sucks, he's still better than thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of guys who would do anything to do what he did tonight. Don't be so dismissive of the top 1% of the top 1% of the people who do this better than anybody, any other humans in the world. Just drives me nuts. Everyone needs to go read Andy Herman's, oh, it's going too fast. Yes, but whatever Andy Herman writes, you definitely should read it at cheeseheadtv.com. And with that, I'm gonna go drink a lot of beer. Thanks a lot, everybody. I am flying out tomorrow, so I probably won't be doing a chat. But thank you so much for following along while I've been in Wisconsin these last 3 weeks. It's been a blast. But keep checking cheeseheadtv.com. We'll have tons of content coming off this game, obviously. And as soon as they're back on the practice field, we'll be covering that for you. I'll start chats up probably this weekend again. Thank you so much, everybody. And please, like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share us on Facebook. And if you really, really like what we do at Cheesehead TV, please consider supporting us at our Patreon, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. $5 a month is all we ask. It supports everything we do, all the content, everything we produce. It really, really means a lot to us. Thanks a lot, everybody. Go Pack Go.